guys? Durb here. I'm excited to start off a new series I'm going to be doing here about like albums that made me who I am. And everybody knows I'm such a huge music fan, music of all genres, but heavy metal, hard rock, classic rock. I mean, that's my cup of tea, man, especially old school metal. And we can't talk about albums that made me what I am or who I am without first talking about Quiet Riot's Mental Health. Bam! See that, kiddies? That's called a cassette. That's probably my third or fourth copy of cassette on that. I've had it on CD. Before I sold them, well, most of my CDs, I kept some collectible stuff. And but I ripped everything to my hard drive. I had close to 8,000 CDs because I've been a music collector since I was 11. And they still have a few thousand cassettes, and I still like to get cassettes. I've always been a cassette guy, and I know that baffles a lot of people because cassettes ain't known for their great sound. But you know what I gotta say to that? I don't care, you know? If I want to listen to great sound, yeah, I'll listen to the digital version or something, but cassettes just, I don't know, there's something about them to me. And you know, I'm in my 40s. I'm not some new kid who just saw, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy and, ooh, a cassette. I think I'll do that. No, I'm old, dude. I love cassettes. What I always liked about cassettes is wearing them out, because I've always had this fascination with time and how stuff breaks down over time. I know I should probably be committed after making this video, but it was always cool having like Quiet Riot, Mental Health, Motley Crue, Shout the Devil, stuff like that, where you rewind it, start the beginning over and over again because it's so fucking cool. And all of a sudden your tape starts going a little bit here and there, and then just, I don't know. I've always had a fascination with that. So, sorry. I know most of you don't, but I'm not like most of you, so I apologize. Bear with me. But if you have the same passion for the music, you know, if you were into music at the same time, you probably loved this album when it came out too. Now there's some naysayers, obviously, well, Quiet Riot's not heavy metal. Dude, the people who say that probably have never listened to the full album. I mean, you can't listen to Bang Your Fucking Head and tell me that's not heavy metal, okay? It's the ultimate heavy metal anthem. It's a heavy song. I wouldn't say the entire album is what you would call heavy metal, but you know, everybody draws a line between heavy metal and hard rock at a different point. I would say the bulk of the album is a metal album, man. Run for Cover, you know, that's a heavy song, man. That was their perennial opener. Such a great song. One of the underrated songs on there, Breathless, that's heavy. Let's Get Crazy, you know. Come On Feel the Noise, more of a hard rock anthem, cover song, obviously. Don't Want to Let You Go, great mid-tempo, beautiful melody and everything with that song. Love's a Bitch, one of my favorite songs. Nice kind of mid-tempo, almost a ballad. I wouldn't really call it a ballad, but then there's Thunderbird, which is just a beautiful song Kevin wrote for Randy Rhoads when he died, you know. And you got the great guitar solo from Carlos Cavazo with Battle Axe, man. I'm telling you, Carlos has always been such an underrated guitar player. And when Quiet Riot, you know, you're going from Randy Rhoads, Kevin had Dubrow, and, you know, Randy dies, Kevin wants to do Quiet Riot, you know, in memory of Randy. So Carlos doing a solo that's got some very Randy-esque sounds in there. It's kind of cool. So yeah, Slick Black Cadillac, can't forget that one too. So, you know, man, I remember getting this tape. I hadn't gotten into heavy metal yet, so it was 1983. The first cassettes I ever got was Alabama, The Closer You Get, which I still love Alabama. I still love old school country. Second one was Men at Work, Business as Usual, right? So, you know, I was dabbling in all kinds of pop culture at the time. I had a 8-track for the Elton John's Greatest Hits, you know, which is still one of my favorite compilations of all time. And, but we were on let me see, I was in 6th grade, and we were on a basketball trip, boys and girls basketball teams. I went to this little country school called Orient School. 1st through 8th grade only, 2 grades per classroom. It's pretty cool, so I loved it. Grew up in the freaking sticks, man. Some people say they grew up sticks, not like this. Pretty cool. But anyway, so we're on this basketball trip, and you know, I heard a lot of buzz about this album, you know, and I had a girlfriend at the time, Amber. Hi, Amber. Pardon me. But you know, we were on the bus, and you know, one of the older kids, gosh, I think it was my buddy Clesson Brown. Shout out to Cless if he's out there, but he let us use his. Me and Amber were sitting together holding hands. You know, that's what we did when we were 11. Kids nowadays, geez. Anyway, don't get me sidetracked here. But Sony Walkman, 2 headphone jacks, so we had 2 different pairs of headphones to listen to the same thing. You know, you kids are missing out nowadays. So we listened to the album. I was a little scared at first. Heavy metal scared me because I was young, and there was just this mystique about it being evil, dark, devil's music type stuff. But yet, that dark stuff was intriguing, but it scared me at the same time. And, you know, obviously Quiet Riot's not a satanic band or anything, but to an 11-year-old trying to wrap his head around it all at the time when people were burning records and stuff was being banned and labeled satanic, you know, there's a lot to take in. But we listened to it, and I fell in love. You know, it was amazing. It changed my life, literally. And I know Quiet Riot's gotten a lot of shit over the years, but, you know, first heavy metal album to ever go #1 on the charts, and there's a reason. I mean, there's a reason it overtook Michael Jackson's Thriller, The Police, Synchronicity. I forget what other one it overtook, but that was pretty big at the time, and it was just incredible. I mean, when you put it in just that, I mean, fuck, man, Frankie Banali's badass drummer, and it was just that song alone. Just I'm getting goosebumps just even talking about it. Traveling back in time, reliving this moment. You know, boom. Loved Come On, Feel the Noise at the time. Now I've just heard it so much, you know, I could do without it. But still, it's essential to the album as a whole. So, you know, especially the cassette, it's harder to skip songs. But, you know, what can I say? But I still listen to it, you know. It's still got its moments because of my memories and stuff attached to it. Now on the cassette, what follows Come On Feel the Noise is Carlos's guitar solo, the Battle Axe. And, you know, I think on the, I'm not sure on the vinyl, I never had the vinyl version, but I know when it was released on CD, Don't Want to Let You Go actually came in slot number 3. But on the cassette, Battle Axe came on slot 3. I think it had something to do with the timing on both sides or whatever. So I view it as Battle Axe is the 3rd song, I always will. So even on my digital version on my hard drive or on my phone, I changed the order so Battle Axe comes in at number 3. So that's how I am. I'm kind of a nerd. But man, just awesome. Like I said, very Randy-esque, but Carlos, man, if you get a chance to watch the documentary Frankie put out, you know, Now We're Here, There's No Way Back, get a chance to watch it. Pretty cool. Better than I thought it would be, because I knew Kevin had started a project when he was still alive. He was going to do, since he put out that album, The Randy Rhoads Years, he was working on doing a documentary about the Randy Rhoads years and getting some footage from fans and stuff of the old days when Randy Rhoads was in the band. And he died. Frankie took, from what I understand, took some of that footage, what he's working on, and then did it about him carrying on the band after Kevin and stuff. Pretty good, pretty good. You know, I had some reservations about watching it at first, but I like it. And it ended before they hooked up with James Durbin. Now, if you don't know who James Durbin is, no relation, wish he was. I always pictured a Durbin singing for Quiet Riot. Sorry, James, it wasn't you. It was this guy. Because, you know, Kevin is a pretty big influence on me vocally, too. I don't know if you can hear it. He was a much better singer than I am, but whatever. James Durbin was on American Idol. I don't think he won, but he was like one of the final contestants for the season that he was on. And he was kind of a rocker dude, but he had into pop music and stuff as well. And but he ended up, becoming singer of Quiet Riot. And it's kind of cool because he's half the rest of the guys his age, and he's a good singer. He's a good front man. So these other guys that Frankie had joined the band were pretty much nobodies, and I don't mean any disrespect in that term, but nobody knew who the hell these guys were really. It's one thing when you're switching a singer, especially if your singer dies, and basically it was Kevin's band. I mean, he was the only original guy, right? So it's tough replacing that, but unless you have like a big name, So, but anyway, I really feel that's part of the reason that it never really took off again with these other guys that Frankie brought in. Plus, the Quiet Riot's been battling, negativity since the early days when, Quiet Riot first got big. Kevin kind of ran his mouth a lot about the other bands and stuff around at the time, and it really kind of cast Quiet Riot aside. And I've been a Quiet Riot fan ever since. I thought it was kind of fucked up too, but I stuck by them. I got their albums. I have the Paul Shortino album, when they fired Kevin and stuff and brought in Paul Shortino. I thought that was a good album, self-titled Quiet Riot album. Anyway, I digress. So I forget where I was going with that. Oh, James Durbin. So I hook up with James Durbin, and I feel like it gives them a little more credibility now. Maybe draw some more people in. The album they did with them, what was it, Road Rage? I have it. It's a good album. I think all their albums are good. Some are better than others, obviously. I mean, you're never going to duplicate Metal Health. Why try? But I think one of their biggest underrated albums is Terrified, when they got back together with Kevin initially, and that's kind of such a badass album. And they did some good stuff after that, too. But, with Carlos not in the band, and I mean no disrespect to Alex Grossi, but Carlos's writing, I think, is sorely missed. I feel like he was, one of the key elements of the Quiet Riot sound. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're talking about Metal Health. So boom, you got Battle Axe. Slick Black Cadillac, great song, love the beginning. Much different than the original version you'll hear on Quiet Riot 2, because Quiet Riot put out 2 albums, released in Japan only, Quiet Riot 1, Quiet Riot 2, with Randy Rhoads on guitar. Never got released in the States. I found them on Napster when Napster came out, so there were some good things about Napster for us music nerds, get copies of stuff like that. And so anyway, it's good stuff. It's not really the same as like the Metal Health type Quiet Riot, but it's still some cool stuff. And on the second album, they had a single. It was actually a fairly decent single in Japan, I guess, called Slick Black Cadillac, and it was kind of a little bit slower or whatever, but Carlos even does a couple of Randy's licks that were on the original, so sped it up some good vocals, good song. Side 1 closes out with Love's a Bitch, just how it starts out, boom, it's just a great intro. Frankie's got one of those drum sounds, man. I've heard a lot of people compare him to John Bonham. He just got that thing where you hear it and you know exactly who it is. So, plus he does some cool fills, Tommy Lee always had really cool fills that nobody else would do. Frankie's kind of the same way. Frankie's kind of got his own style. So that's pretty cool. Side 2, Breathless, like I said, one of the biggest underrated Quiet Riot songs there is. Definitely probably the biggest underrated on that album. I don't know if they've ever played it live. I've never heard them play it live, so don't know why. It's a great song. Then Run for Cover. It's a heavy driving song. Good double kicks going on that one. That's heavy metal, buddy. I don't care who you are. Don't Want to Let You Go, beautiful song. Kevin wrote that, really beautiful song. I think the last time I saw him live, he played that on the acoustic. Actually, no, he was gonna play it on the acoustic, and somebody left a back door open, and there was a cold breeze coming in, and it knocked his guitar out too, and he got pissed off, and started going off about leaving the fucking door open and shit like that. kind of cool because I hated the owner of that club anyway. And so they did a full electric version, but you know, it's a great song. It's always been a great song, always will be. Let's Get Crazy, you know, another great song. I mean, you can't beat a song when it's got a lyric like "Wanna kiss some lips, not the ones on your face." When I was 11, I don't know what the fuck he was talking about, right? But you know, it didn't take me very long to figure that one out. But another great song, love it. Closes out with Thunderbird, very beautiful song, beautiful piano on that. The reissue on CD and stuff had a bonus track besides the live one or ones that come with it, but Danger Zone, and it's a good song, but you know, I see why it didn't make the album. It's a pretty good song though. I know when it got reissued, they were playing that live. I think they actually had opened with Danger Zone at that point, but good stuff. But you know, what can I say? What can I say about Metal Health? I pretty much summed it up. It just means the world to me. Still one of my favorite albums of all time. Always will be, because of what it represents and what it represents in my past and how it made me who I am. And as a vocalist, as a player, all these different albums I'm going to be sharing with you and these bands, such a special part of my life. And I just wanted to share it with y'all. Not that any of you care, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. So